What's going on YouTube? This is Brian916. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to my channel. Please hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so. Anyway, let's get into the topic. I'm talking about snap-on tools and the type of snap-on tools that I use. So, purpose for doing this video is a lot of viewers, subscribers, I may think that I have something against snap-on tools, judging by some of the comments that I've read. And so I wanted to make this video to show that I do have snap-on tools and I do use snap-on tools. Okay, so not quite as much as I used to when I was younger and used to only buy off the tool truck back when, you know, I had less responsibilities and less bills when I was younger and just generally didn't know any better and only bought off tool trucks, you know. But as I've you know, matured into my career and have been working as an auto technician for, you know, over 15 years, I've come to realize that there's pretty good tool companies out there and tool brands that you know, are very good, and they'll help you get the job done just the same. You can save a ton of money. You can put that money elsewhere versus, you know, paying a weekly bill to the snap-on truck and stuff like that. I've learned to avoid that. However, I do buy snap-on tools, certain tools from Snap-on, because they are overpriced, and I definitely stand behind my belief that their tools are overpriced. But there's a flip side to that coin. Some of their tools are really, really good, and it's really worth paying the inflated price for it, even though we all know it's extremely inflated. But, you know, they do have some tools out there where I don't necessarily feel bad if I pay the inflated price, because it does help me be more productive. It helps me get cars out of here faster, helps get cars fixed right, and makes my life easier, so I don't mind paying the inflated price. So I do got some snap-on tools behind me, and I just want to give you my 2 cents on snap-on tools. So let's take a look at them, and I'll tell you what I think. All right, so I'm going to start with, in my opinion, they're the most valuable tool that I have from Snap-on. I'll start there, and it's going to be this torque wrench that I bought from Snap-on. This is probably one of the best items that you can buy from Snap-on if you do a lot of engine repair, if you're a machinist or an engine repair tech, or, you know, a transmission tech. I mean, even suspension techs. But if you do any type of nuts and bolt work where it's critical to have the correct torque on it, especially dealing with angles, torque angle procedures, this thing saves me a lot of time. It really does. You know, can I get the job done without this? Yeah, it can. But for productivity, this tool is excellent. So I can, you know, put the foot-pounds that I want, and I can go in and set the angle that I need. And, you know, I never have to switch tools or spend time to go get an angle gauge. Those things take a really long time to set up so that they don't move on you. And it takes a long time to get one bolt done, and all you're doing is, you know, 90 degrees, or maybe 90 degrees is simple to do, but maybe if it's like 165 degrees or something, it takes a while to get those little angle gauges set up. This really cuts the time in half when doing cylinder head jobs, engine rebuilds, you know, transmission rebuilds, things like that. So, and it also has a flex head on it, which helps getting in tight spots, or even to get your ratchet or your torque wrench back out when torquing it in a tight spot. Even, you know, to get it back out, having this flex on feature helps. And it's nice and stout, it's beefy, and it's easy to put quite a bit of torque on this thing. So is it expensive? Yeah, it's expensive. It's very expensive, but I do think it's worth the investment. So that's a tool that I have from Snap-on that I highly recommend. Like I stated before, I don't have anything against Snap-on other than the fact that they charge too much for their tools, and auto technicians rely on tools heavily. So, you know, we have to buy them. So you can end up racking up a tremendous bill purchasing these tools. So I think that there's certain tools that you should buy from them, and that's pretty much it. All right, second thing is that I use the most is going to be their mid-length sockets, and these are my go-to sockets by Snap-on. I reach for these pretty much every time that I grab a socket. It's got a great length on it. You know, a lot of times if you use a shallow socket, you might have to put a short extension on it, you know, to give you the length you need. But on these, you know, you don't need that. It's not too long and it's not too deep. So it's sort of perfect to just throw on a ratchet and go. So I use these a lot. These are Snap-on, and I think that these are a good buy. Are they expensive? Yeah, they're a little overpriced, but I think that the time that they save me using these and how well they grip, I think it's worth the money. So second down the line is going to be these Snap-on sockets, the semi-deeps. My shallows are Williams, which is also a Snap-on affiliate. I used to buy quite a bit of stuff from Williams, but lately I haven't been too impressed with some of the things that I bought from Williams, and so I've been looking elsewhere. Not that Williams is not good, it is good. I mean, it's the same as Snap-on, but lately I've kind of got some cheaper things from Williams that I didn't necessarily like. So I think you should buy the torque wrench with the torque angle setting on it. I think that you should buy the semi-deeps, and then I think that next, let's move on to the screwdrivers. I think that you should buy Snap-on screwdrivers, especially the soft grip Snap-on screwdrivers. I mean, these things are good screwdrivers, man. The tips on them are like super duper hard. You won't gouge a screw out on them. And when you can feel on these Snap-on screwdrivers, when you stick the Phillips tip or the flat tip into whatever screw, you can feel it immediately when you get it in there. Like, you're gonna bust that screw and how tight it fits into it. You can feel it immediately. So they do have good screwdrivers, and like I said, the tips are extremely hard. I've never gouged out a screw, and this is the only screwdriver I've ever used that got a rotor screw off. When I got a rotor screw off with one of these, I started buying them, and that was a long time ago. All right, so I do like Snap-on screwdrivers. They're expensive, but I think it's worth it just to have a little set of them. And then next is going to be that I use are these ball peen hammers with the dead blow sand in them. Now this is like a big, what is it, 32 ounce? Yeah, 32 ounce. I use this thing for suspension work. And the reason why I use it for suspension work, if you need to whack on a tie rod to get it to pop up, or a ball joint or something like that, these things provide a nice dead blow, you know, strike at the ball joint or whatever it is you're trying to beat off, and there's very little bounce back because of the sand in the head. So it's a ball peen and dead blow all in one, and I kid you not, it only takes a few whacks with this and I can get any control or any tie rod in to pop up out of the steering knuckle, or any ball joint to pop out. I'm not gonna say any ball joint, but most ball joints I can get out. So I highly recommend these ball peen hammers with the dead blow sand in them. I mean, I can't say enough good things about these hammers. And these are reasonably priced from Snap-on. These aren't super inflated. These are reasonably priced compared to other good quality hammers. So I'm not gonna bash Snap-on on the price on these hammers. So these are, you know, somewhat reasonably priced. And then of course, I got an assortment of ratchets over here. And I'm never gonna tell anybody in this business not to buy a Snap-on ratchet. Snap-on is one of the best things that they make are their ratchets. As an automotive technician, our ratchets are like the most used tool to get any job done. You know, we grab that ratchet and socket most of the time first. And so, I mean, a good ratchet to an auto technician is like a stethoscope to a doctor. In terms of, that's sort of the first tool you use. So I got a long handle Snap-on with the release button. So I use this ratchet here. This is a good ratchet. I do like the release buttons. I used to didn't like them when I was younger. I used to like sort of the snatch off style, but I guess I'm getting a little lazier in my old age, and I hate ripping these off, especially with oily hands. You know, it may take several tries just to get a socket off. So I do like the release mechanism. So this is a nice long handle. However, these do come in handy if you're working in a tight spot and the last thing you want to do is have your socket fall off. These work great for that. I got a Williams here too. This is made by Snap-on, and this is a what is this ratchet? This is a B-52 EHHB, and it's pretty much the same as a Snap-on. You can see it has the same replace worn parts and the same sort of gear cover that all the Snap-on sockets use. You can see there's like very little difference here. It's obviously a Snap-on socket or ratchet. So if you're looking for Snap-on quality and you don't want to pay the inflated price, go with the Williams line. It's pretty much the same tool. This looks very similar. I can't really see any difference in this tool than the Snap-on. And it's pretty much the same. So I highly recommend this ratchet if you want to pay a little bit less. And then of course, this is like my favorite ratchet. This is a quarter size long handle. It's got the release button on it, 82. Nice little guy here. Use that for everything. Okay, so it's always a good idea to have a Snap-on ratchet. I'm never going to tell anyone not to buy one. Can you get other ratchets out there for a lot cheaper? Of course, but you know, these ratchets do hold up, and I don't have necessarily anything bad to say about these ratchets. All right, so that moves me on to one item that I don't like, and it's these Williams ratcheting wrenches. You know, when I purchased these, I really thought I was gonna like these, and if you look on Snap-on's website, check these out. It's the same exact ratchet as the Blue Point. So this is like a Blue Point quality, Williams quality, you know, but it's made by Snap-on. I didn't like these ratchets or these ratcheting wrenches out the gate when I first got them. The heads on them are too bulky. They're very fat, and I figure, well, maybe because Williams is the industrial line, it needs to have, you know, thicker and beefier gears in there. But I popped this 10 easy. It's jammed. It won't ratchet anymore, and I barely put any torque on it. So stay away from the Williams ratcheting wrenches. And I would probably say, I don't know how great Snap-on ratcheting wrenches are. I think you're better off with Snap-ons. You know, they're staples. They're foundation tools. you know, sockets, ratchets, hammers, screwdrivers, basic stuff like that from Snap-on is great. Once you start getting into like electric tools and ratcheting stuff and stuff like that, I found that they're not the greatest in that area. I literally used to use these Duralast ratcheting wrenches for a long time, and these things work so great. I've fixed so many vehicles with this, done so much work with these. I kid you not, I would prefer this set of Duralast over these Williams if I can get a whole set of these. I don't know if they make them like this no more. I bought these back in like 2013, and I don't know if they still make them, but this thing is a really good ratcheting wrench. So I would highly recommend looking elsewhere on the gear wrench department or the ratcheting wrench department. Even these gear wrenches here, it's got a smaller head on it. It gets into tighter spots. The ratcheting mechanism is like really durable and strong, and they're a lot cheaper than Williams or a Snap-on ratcheting wrench. So I've got that in here just to show that there are some things from Snap-on you should avoid, just like there are some things from Snap-on you should buy. Okay, so that's my take on Snap-on, and so all these items that I got laid out here, these are items that I own from Snap-on, and that's pretty much it. I really don't see myself really buying anything else from Snap-on. I really don't think it's necessary. I'm certainly not gonna buy a Snap-on toolbox. It doesn't really matter. The toolbox doesn't matter as much as the tools that's inside the box. So I'm not gonna buy that. Little things like lights and stuff like that, it's really not necessary to pay inflated prices for a flashlight or a toolbox or, you know, a voltmeter, test light, stuff like that. So just basic hand tools from Snap-on is the only thing I would recommend from Snap-on. So anyway, that was my take on Snap-on tools. This is Brian 916. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one.